Creative Misfits.
All right. Welcome to Creative Misfits. I am your host, One Known,
And I'm your hostess, Lyrical Relief.
and today we are here to kick off another project review. Today we're going to be talking about the new project from Marcellus Juvann,
Yep.
and it's called Carpe Noctem. So recently, for those who don't know, a lot of people probably know. If you know about Marcellus, then you know
For
what's
sure.
going on. But recently he became a contestant on the VH1 show Signed, where the moguls Rick Ross, Lenny S, and The Dream are basically looking for artists to sign. And everything went well. Essentially, he came through and he came through and he won.
He got signed.
He got signed. So everything went well with that. So this is pretty much his first project since the signing, since the big announcement, the big win, and that makes it very special. Makes it very I don't know what's a good word for marking something. It's a good commemoratory moment, I guess
Yeah,
you
you
can
could
say.
say that.
Cool.
For sure.
So, so Carpe Noctem, is pretty much like the I'm here victory lap type of thing, and he's here and he's here to stay. We already knew that, but now Rick Ross, Lenny S, The
And The
Dream, and the
Dream.
world knows it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, so Carpe Noctem is a 5-song EP, nice, short, sweet project, and we're just gonna get straight up into it. So without
Yep.
further ado, let's get into the first track.
All right. So the first track is called A Week Ago. And I love this one. I'm glad that he started off with this one because pretty much in this song, he pretty much talks about how your life can change in a matter of a week. Like a week ago, he talks about that. And in this song, he has a lot of like lines that everyone could relate to, everybody who's struggling, trying
sure.
to, make their dreams come true. So there's a lot of relatable lines here. And some of them that I like, let me see. One of them was, we was trying to make an honest living. It ain't easy though. Insufficient funds. What the hell I got this visa for? It's like totally relatable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And so yeah, I really enjoyed this entire song. I felt like I said, it was definitely relatable. It's motivational because it encourages people, whoever's listening to this, like your life can change in a matter of a week. You just got to stay consistent and true to your vision. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's what I got out of this one, and I really, really love this song.
Yeah, it's really dope. It's a really dope opener. Some of the things you were talking about, like the insufficient funds, I had that written down too. And then as well, he was talking about like not having a car, having to walk and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. So like you said, he's definitely talking about the struggle, how it wasn't. He opens like the first words he says is shit was all bad just a week ago.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it really, like you said, paints that picture of it might be bad, but it can definitely change. Like,
You
he's
just got to
he's
stay
living proof of that
consistent.
shit.
Exactly. You can't give up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some things that I like about it is that, the instrumental, it's like it has like a cool haunting like vocal sample, and it has like a ticking hi-hat. Those are some of the elements that I like about the instrumental. And like you said, just the picture that he's painting about the struggle and, coming up from the struggle, it's all very relevant to anybody who pretty much has been through it, you know what I mean?
Exactly. For sure.
One of the other things that is throughout the project I hear is, he's kind of taking a lot of digs at, like females for just trying to waste his time, you know what I mean? Like he's not really on the relationship vibe essentially. He wants to kind of do his own thing. So in the chorus he's talking about, single as a dollar now. Last girl had me stressing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. I'm the best out. And that's another thing. When he says he's the best out, it's kind of cool how he says it on this song because, he says it nice and cool. Marcellus has like that cool personality and shit. He's just saying he's the best. He's not like, yo, bitch, I'm the best.
He's not cocky about it. Like
He's
says
just saying,
it, but
like,
he's still humble about it.
I've worked to become the best.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm up here saying I'm the best.
Exactly.
And, that's what you got to be if, you're out here trying to make things happen, essentially. You
For
got to feel like
sure.
you're the best. All right, so one of the other common threads that I noticed in this particular song is something that, like I said, is a common thread throughout the project. He talks about religion a lot. Like you could tell that he has a strong foundation in religion.
For sure.
So some of the stuff that he was saying on this particular song is when he said, God told me it was written. He also has another line where he says, Lord, I need some angels. So it's very apparent that, that whole religious angle, like he kicks it off kind of talking about that. So
Yeah.
it's really good. This track is a really good intro track because you're getting some of the themes already with this first track.
For sure.
What else do you have for this particular track?
That was pretty much it.
Cool. All right, well, let's get into the next one then. Potluck. Featuring Jay Swiffer. Go ahead and get into that one.
All right, so this one, let's see. I like when he talks about better stop living for yourself, better start living for God. Watch how you
religion
rise up.
Coming
exactly.
Up again.
Religion coming up again. Watch how you rise up. Like pretty much saying no one can stop us. The whole team eating good. Shit looking like a potluck. So I really like this because he does paint the picture. How
hence the title.
Exactly. How, he stayed consistent with his, vision. And now things are looking up. He's eating good. Like you can imagine, envision, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Him and the crew envisioning like a potluck. Obviously, you see there's mad food and everybody's eating good. So he's painting that picture that things are good now. Like he did struggle, but things are looking pretty up now. And I like that line specifically too, because he does talk about, stop living for yourself. Like pretty much start thinking about the bigger picture in life, So
for sure.
I enjoyed that for sure.
Yeah, I wrote down that line as well, and not only the content of it, but just the way he flows it is,
exactly.
In typical Marcellus fashion, like super dope with the flow and just switching up the flows. So the way he says it, better stop living for self, better start living for God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he always has that control of the flow.
For sure.
Some of the things I have for this one, I think this one after coming in from, shit was all bad just a week ago. Like that was a very like woozy, warm, haunting type of track. The instrumental left a lot of room for Marcellus to rap and sound very like nice and clear. Like he's pretty much like above the track almost, just the way the track is composed. Like it was meant to give him room to like flow and just be upfront. But with this track, this track comes in harder with the drums. It has more bounce to it like immediately.
Yeah.
Like as soon as that second track rolls in, you're like, okay. You just feel a different energy come in. So the first track was like nice and woozy and mellow, and then this one is like a picker upper coming straight off of it. So this one also has like a vocal sample, and it has like some string sounding and synthy sounding elements within it as well. Just a really bouncy, cool, like, it has like, it's a picker upper, like I said.
Yeah, for sure.
It really picks up the vibe from, being mellow to being a lot more energetic. One of the lines I wrote down is where he says, lose my number, don't call that shit. So that's kind of in the first verse, and he's again kicking it off. He's talking about females again, and he goes on to say like, pretty much, don't come up here trying to waste my time because I need all that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wrote that line too. I like that one.
So I like that one. I like that one as well. Another thing that he talks about is, even in that same scheme, even he says, if you try to give me a handout, I'm gonna cut off that shit. So, he's pretty much saying how, he doesn't really need favors or anything like that. And I think that, again, just goes back to him being grounded in his situation. He has his team, he has his squad, he has himself, and that's pretty much all he needs. Like, he doesn't need
God,
these outside.
And that's his.
Exactly. He has God, so that keeps him grounded as well. And as long as he has all that, it's pretty much good to go.
Yep.
Is how it sounds. Do you have anything else before I start closing this track out? Okay, well, another thing I wanted to kind of talk about is Jay Swiffer, when he turns in his performance on the chorus. And one thing I noticed about it, to me, kind of sounds like Wheezy. Kind of sounds like Lil Wayne. He has like this mumbly auto-tune type of vibe going on in the chorus. And, when I say that, it's not to discredit, Jay Swiffer. That's just, what it's reminiscent of to me. And I mean that in a good way because it sounds dope. You know what I mean? Like, I guess if you're going to compare somebody to somebody, Lil Wayne is not a bad person to compare them to.
No, not at all.
But yeah, so he definitely comes in. He does his thing with that, like I said, that mumbly auto-tune style. And some of the things he's saying is, I think he says, do it for my own, do it for myself. And then take a couple L's. So, he just does that with that with that style, with that swag. He really puts like, you know, he really puts a lot of style into he infuses a lot of style into the song as a whole. So just that little hook appearance, you know, he really kind of does his thing on it.
For sure.
Let's get into the next song though. What do you think about Play Your Role?
Play Your Role. There's a few lines in there that I thought were pretty cool. Like the one where he said, "I'm out in LA talking keys with Khaled." Like that one, I pictured that episode from Science. I was like, oh yeah, yep.
Yep, fucking flexing right now.
For sure.
Talking about, bitch, I'm with Khaled. Talking keys.
Talking keys.
What you know about it?
Exactly. So I was like, okay, yeah, I remember that. Super dope. Remember that part. And then I think he opened up the second verse with this, where "Mama, she hate that I dropped out of school. That's why I feel I got so much to prove." I like that line, period, and the way he flowed it too. Like, for
again,
sure,
with the flow, for sure.
Super dope. And then another part where he was like, "You're looking at a prophet, how I came with all this knowledge. Everybody can't be legends, so don't stress it. It's only a few."
Yeah.
Like, super dope. Like the whole concept of this song, the instrumental to the saxophone in the background and all that.
Yeah, the saxophone is fucking snapping throughout that shit.
Loved it.
Definitely
it.
Soloing out throughout the song, and you know, towards the end, the saxophone just
killed it. Like,
goes wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that shit.
Hell yeah. Well, what I have to say about Play Your Role is it's my favorite by far. It's my favorite song by far on the EP. The shit is like super hard. It's got like a very trappy vibe. You hear, you know, the 808s, and once again the sax is just like snapping throughout the whole thing. And then, you know, in the trap tradition, it has just like this simple lead melody line, but it's effective. You know what I mean? It sets the mood, and it really gets you in the mood for the song.
For sure.
But yeah, you know, so going back to what you were saying about, you know, the line about Khaled, I think that's a large part of what the song is about. Like, to me, this is the most like confident, like just fucking flexing on motherfuckers type of song that I've heard from Marcellus. Like, he's really like out here talking about, you know, he's the one essentially.
For real.
So, you know, that line is a flexing type of line to me. When he comes in, he's pretty much talking about, you know, how these artists are, you know, they ain't really artists, they more like actors. And you know, he goes on to say, before you win a Grammy, you probably gonna win an Oscar. And I could hear a dream in the back of my mind saying, woo. when he does that line, like, woo. That's pretty much what the song is like. Like, you could hear a whole bunch of lines where you could hear a dream in the background saying, woo.
Getting up dancing too. Like,
yeah, doing his step, you know what I mean? And this is that type of song. Like, pretty much there's so many quotables within this song.
For sure.
One of the other things that he mentions is that he says this did not happen by accident. This shit was all on purpose. So again, it goes back to that, like, you know, this isn't a fluke.
Exactly.
Like, this is something they've been working on for a minute, you know what I mean? And it's just coming to fruition, and that's all it is. It's not luck.
Yep.
It's not anything like that. And then for when you were talking about the whole, you looking at a prophet, one of the cool things I thought about that is just the way they said blessing. You know what I mean? Like, blessing in that just high pitched shit.
Yeah.
And that high pitch. Like, I wonder who thought of that to make that word out of all words, like high pitched. Like, it's not something that you would think of automatically making a song. You know what I mean? At all. Like, somebody was in the studio like, yo, what if you say it like this?
Yeah.
And shit, maybe it was Marcellus. He thought about it in his brain, and he was like, yo, this would be cool. And it's just a really cool accent.
It is.
You know what I mean? And it really sticks out within that whole scheme. We didn't talk about the hook. The hook, you know, is where he says, everybody can't be great. Nah, that ain't how that shit goes. Yeah. That ain't how this shit goes.
Everybody can't be great.
And, you know, that's just another example of him flexing and being like, you know, it's not meant for everybody. Like, you know, you got to be the anointed one, like he speaks of in the EP, basically. And one other thing I wanted to mention lyrically is that he, in that same scheme that you were talking about where he dropped out of school and all that shit, he goes on to kind of shout out a lot of like Houston / Texas legends. So he shouts out like Screw, he shouts out Pimp C, he shouts out Big Mo. So that's just kind of like a shout out to his homeland, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But let's get into the next one, Lost.
Lost is my favorite. I like this one because...
It's my second favorite.
I like this one. I like the whole message to this song because it's so true, you know, and I can relate to that because I've been there too myself. And the hook pretty much says, sometimes you got to lose yourself just to find yourself. And it's so true. And then there's a line here where he talks about he had to cut some friends off because they didn't fit the vision.
Yep.
And I like when he says, "You ain't built how we built. You didn't grow up in a drought." Like, just everything in this song is just so true, and it's a key for sure for people.
Okay. Maybe Khaled told him about that.
Maybe, but it is. It's a key, especially like if you want to pursue anything. Like, you have to be mindful of who you have around you. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, sometimes you are going to end up losing yourself, and that doesn't mean that it's over, but you end up, finding who you are, reevaluating yourself, picking yourself back up, and then, you know what I'm saying, getting back to it. And I think that's what this song is all about, and I really enjoyed it. And I feel like once you do that, you end up seeing the bigger picture, because there's another part where he goes, "We also just lost on this planet. We don't even know why we're here on this earth. We're here to love each other. Stop putting people above each other. When are we going to realize that we're all the same?" So I don't know. I just really feel like, in the beginning, he talks about how he lost himself and how he had to kind of readjust everything and cut people out. And then after that, like, everything became clear for him, you know, and his whole vision and his path, everything just became clear.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. And I had, notes written down for some of the lines that you talked about too. First, though, I want to get into about this track is that it's the most soulful track. Like, as soon as it comes in, like, you have the soulful piano going. And
that's one of the things I love about it.
And straight from the jump, like, you can tell that this shit is gonna have some soul to it. And fitting, Marcellus comes in like singing, this soulful melody. Like, the chorus is just, it has so much feeling to it. And he brings one of his strong points, the whole melodic thing into it. And he just really, like, brings it in the way it should be brought in, essentially. You hear the piano, you hear the track, and you kind of gain a sense of what this song is supposed to be. And Marcellus, he has that command over, like, knowing where to go with it. So that's why he opens it up with that chorus, and that's why he has that chorus the way it is, because that's what the song needs. It needs that soul, melodic, just singing your fucking heart out, basically, type of shit. And it's not like he's belting or anything like that, but just the words and just the way he delivers it. Like, you can feel it. You know that he means what he says.
Exactly.
So he really killed that shit. And then, going back to, I guess, the main idea of the song, that's kind of how the chorus goes. Like, sometimes you got to lose yourself just to find yourself. You know what I mean? So that pretty much brings it home within the chorus. And what you were talking about, he talks about having doubts and being lost at a point in time in his life, you know what I mean? And just, pretty much the song comes around to, like, present day, to, like, where he's at now, and he's in a better place, like you said.
Exactly.
We here to love each other. I like that line as well. And then one of the things that I really like, or one of the other lines I like that he said, is when he says, "I don't want to struggle no more. I don't want to cry anymore."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he goes on to say that he doesn't want to see any young brothers die anymore.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, again, the song is just real soulful, heartfelt, just talking about coming up from that struggle and, finding yourself and, getting to where you need to be at. And it's just a flawless execution of the concept.
For sure.
Let's get into Faith Ain't Easy. Last track.
Faith Ain't Easy. Well, I love the beat, first of all. And I love the way he comes in, like, the delivery with the first verse. And he starts off with, "Faith is never easy. The hardest thing you could do in life is probably worth the most when you're ready to cash in." Like, I thought it was super dope how he came in like that with that line. And then another one, "Ain't no such thing as praying too much until it happens." And that's what this voice said to me. "I'm anointed, appointed." That's, again, he goes on with that concept that he's been
chosen.
Exactly.
Chosen one.
Exactly. The Lord spoke to me. I've been chosen to lead all my people to freedom. I love this. I love the way he said it. Everything. It was just super dope, and you feel that confidence as he's saying these lines. And I thought it was super dope.
Yeah, and it's funny, kind of like you talked about before. Like, even when he's talking confident, like, you don't feel like it's coming from a place where he's like looking down on people and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Like,
it still comes from a very humble place.
Yeah, like he's really out here, trying to make a difference basically with his music, and he's like really
Exactly.
trying to
And
touch
that's what I
people.
love about it, because his music has substance. It's has meaning, you know what I'm saying? And it leaves you just thinking like afterwards when you hear his music. Like with his last one, The Great Escape, it was the same way. You know, it
Yeah.
left you just like, wow, that was some dope shit.
Yeah.
You know, so I really enjoyed this one as well. And I like when he also said, faith is never easy. Only the strong survive. When everybody's doubting and want to see your demise, you got to trust yourself, trust God to cut ties. And that's another, well, he continues that theme that he had in Lost, pretty much. Like, you know, you have to learn how to trust yourself, trust God, and, you know, cut ties with certain people that are trying to play both sides, he was saying. And
Pretty
then
much.
the hook, tomorrow's not promised to you. And I like when he's speaking also in there when he's saying you got to get up, get out, fuck what them haters talking about, and do something. Like,
Yeah,
the
for
whole
sure.
thing was just dope. I enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And the chorus and a lot of the stuff that you were just talking about, it kind of really brings it home for like the concept of the EP. Carpe Noctem. He's
Mm.
talking about seize the night, seize the
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So a lot of what you're talking about has something to do with that. Um, you know, as far as the music goes, this one has a very like chunky bass line.
Mm-hmm. And
Y-
then at the end, it has like that live band type of thing.
exactly, that's another thing for
Yeah,
sure.
I like that.
Towards the end, you hear like the brass section come in,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start to hear some keys come in as well. So it really starts to bring that live band feel into it.
Yeah.
So it has that really chunky bass line, almost like aggressive the way the
Mm-hmm.
bass line is, but
Mm-hmm.
then the rest of the track is like really mellow. So it's kind of like an interesting, thing to kind of put against each other,
Yeah.
like the bass line, like, hey, what's up, everybody? And then fucking, the rest of the track is like mellow and kind of laid back, you know what I mean? But it works out. It works out really
It
well.
does. It does.
So it's just a mellow, dreamy instrumental, aside from that bass line talking about, hey, what's up, guys? um, so, in this song, pretty much he's talking about going to get it, like you said. He goes back to not needing opinions or not needing like outside input,
Mm-hmm.
from somebody else, you know what I mean? Another common thread that goes throughout the project.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the other things he says is to disregard haters, and he says, "Don't let anybody dim your light."
Exactly.
I really
Yeah,
like
I
that
like that
line.
one too.
I really like that
I
line
like when
for
he says
sure.
the loudest people drown in shallow waters.
Yeah,
That one was another one that was super dope. Like, it's just
line
line
after
after
line.
line.
Yeah, like the whole fucking project is full of quotables for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But to wrap that song up, pretty much you have like a behind the scenes convo where he's kind of talking about, I guess, the length of the EP and why he
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to be short. And he pretty much says, that he wanted it to be like that. He didn't want it to have any skits. He didn't want it to have any filler. He wanted it to be like short and sweet, and short in a good way, like The
Yeah.
Weeknd.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's another way to tie in like the actual concept and the title as well. Like it's like a
Just
moment in time.
exactly.
It's a very short and sweet project, like a moment in time, and you just enjoy it while it's there, while you're listening to it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And he says another reason is like he wanted it to be like you listen to it and you're like, damn, I want to hear that shit again.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants people to bring it back
And
and
that's exactly like the feeling you
soak
get.
everything in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I guess that pretty much wraps up our thoughts on this project.
Yeah.
So Marcellus Juvann, Carpe Noctem, fucking kills it,
For sure.
knocks it out the park.
sure.
It's a really dope project. We really enjoy it. You guys should go out and enjoy it. As far as I know, it's
Definitely
only
check it
on
out.
SoundCloud so
Yeah,
far.
it's
So
only on
Marcellus Juvann, Carpe Noctem. You could look it up. And aside from that, shout out to Hip Hop Everything.
Yep.
Shout
for
out
sure.
to you guys for listening.
Thank you.
And I think that pretty much covers it.
Yep. Creative Misfits. We out.
All right, so shout out to y'all. Catch y'all next time. Later.
Creative Misfits.